Gamers. I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be previewing Dinamine. It is published by Ndeeh Games and Castle Doe. Hopefully I pronounced both of those names right. If I did not, please correct me down below in the video description. And it is designed by Enu Roloc. I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who's going to tell you more about the game itself and also give you a little bit of a public service announcement.
As Jason said, this is a preview, so we'd like to thank the publishers for thinking of us and sending us a review copy. But we'd like to remind everybody that our opinions will remain our own. We will not rate it as it's a preview, but we will give you our opinions of the game. Now, this is a competitive game that is for 2 to 4 players, ages 7 and above. So one of those 7s, not 12.
Yep.
And it plays in about 35 minutes.
Yes, so what will you be doing in Dinamine? Well, you have your starting mine tile, and you're going to be trying to go down into the depths of the mine up to 5 stories under the ground. And to do that, you are going to be drawing round markers, which are going to have a construction point value. You will then be rolling a dice on your turn, adding this die value to whatever the value is on this token. You will then be buying rooms and placing them into your mines. If you happen to roll a 1, you'll be able to acquire one of the items or missions in this row to score extra victory points. And then at the end of the game, you're going to see who can score the highest. There are different multipliers for each of the rows that are in your mine, so you will have to try to get as many veins on the highest scoring levels as possible. Veins are these blue
jewels.
Yeah, jewels. You can also score extra points for wells, dragon fossils, and altars that are located on the tiles. You can even get a nice +1 to a die roll if you happen to find a way to make this quarter fit in your mine. There are also some tiles here that have +1s on them, meaning that if you connect to them after you place them, or you connect it to another tile, you'll be able to get an extra construction point. I really think I covered everything about the game. It is fairly straightforward. The rulebook does a good job of presenting it. So not much more to add there. I think it's time for us to
grab our drinks,
grab our best friend,
I'm going to take it to the table one more time.
One more time.
Hopefully I beat you one of these times.
Hope so, for your sake. So, Julie, what are your thoughts on Dinamine?
Well, I'm going to preface this like I do for most competitive games and remind people, in case you don't watch the channel, that I am more of a cooperative gamer than a competitive gamer. Now, there are some competitive games.
I think it's starting to change, though. I would say you're maybe 60-40.
No, I was going to say, there are some competitive games that I enjoy, but I still prefer a good cooperative game. That being said, there isn't a lot of the in-your-face mechanic that I don't like in this game. And there is the added advantage of the fact that it does play rather quickly, which means that you don't have too much time invested in it if you're going to end up losing. So to me, that makes it more palatable as a competitive game.
Yeah, just on another note, she does enjoy the rather long tapestry.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, it's an interesting concept. It kind of pulls ideas from a couple different games that we've played recently. I feel like I'm building, one of the Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of that feel in terms of the tile placement, for sure.
But it also has a lot of randomness. So you're rolling a die. So there's a different one of these tokens, that comes up that adds randomness, and then you're rolling your dice. So
Here, you might want to just lift or showcase some of the round tokens. You'll see they have different point values that you can use for construction. They may also let you do other things like moving a tile. If you happen to guess your roll, you get an extra point. A few different things like that.
And then you have your mission card at the beginning that you have to try to achieve, that can be fairly difficult. I mean, you don't get to pick one of two. I would have liked it a little bit better, I think, if you get to pick one of two, because you can maybe pick something that's a little bit more to your play style?
I don't think that really works though, and not because of what you're saying, because typically I'd agree. Having a choice would go to your playstyle, but the randomness in this game is just a little too high. We're playing with 2 players, so I think that level is a little bit more mitigated because you have a better choice of tiles, but at 3 to 4 players, how's that really going to work? You're not going to have nearly as much choice in terms of what you're going to get for tiles, so you're really just going to go with whatever's available.
But even there's randomness, as I was saying, in what the order that this comes up, what you're rolling as a dice, and also
getting the cards.
Yeah, which cards you're going to get, which items are going to come up, but also even which tiles are available. Some of the tiles are the same all the way through, some of them are not. So there are times that, you roll your dice, you're like, yeah, that's the one I'm going to get, and that's going to help me, achieve my mission. And, it's not so bad even at 2, but it was frustrating at 2 because you'd pick the card and then the one underneath is not the same thing anymore, and that was the card that I needed to be able to bring me down. I mean, there aren't a lot of rounds. There's only 10 rounds, so it goes very quickly, but it also goes very quickly when you're trying to, most of the time you're trying to achieve at least 5 levels. So unless you're getting to place more cards, you're going to have trouble getting to,
Yeah, you typically top out, at least what we've seen, and if you get some really nice rolls, you can definitely do more than that, but I'd say that you're looking at around 20 tiles or so max in your mind. Now, we've gone up to about 19, so I think that on a typical, rolls of the dice, unless you roll 5s and 6s the whole way through, you're going to be at about that same amount.
Yeah. And on the last game, I really thought, honestly, I thought I was ahead based on what I had, but then you picked up all kinds, you kept rolling 1s.
And I got all of the points cards, as you can see that are in front of me right now.
And the last roll, he ended up rolling 9.
Yeah, because I got the item that gave me an extra roll that let me add things together. So it just happened to be that we ended the round with a 4. So I had 5, and then I got an extra roll, so I rolled another 4. I had 9, and I literally just kind of took you out of the game on the last roll.
Yeah. So it's things like that that are frustrating to me. There are some people that I know that love games like this. I get frustrated by them personally. So the advantage is it's fairly easy to play. It's fast.
Easy to teach too.
Easy to teach, and I understand why it's for 7 and above. 7, 8, whatever. I think younger kids can understand. I mean, it's visually, you're building tunnels. That being said, there's not a lot of strategy going into it, I think, if you're on the lower age count, but it is still possible to play it.
Yeah, I'd say that the reason why you can go with lower ages is because you're playing the game that develops in front of you. So as much as you want to use strategy, you're still at the mercy as to what everyone else is doing. So you just have to make the best decisions when you can.
Yeah. If you have fellow gamer friends, or if you are a gamer that tends to get analysis paralysis, this game could last a lot longer than...
You just got to make the move. But you'll see it typically at the start. You might be like, okay, it's one of these 2 options. Make the decision, keep moving. That's where you're going to enjoy the game. If the game takes too long, it's definitely the kind of thing that will drag out.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that I have much else to add. I think it is interesting. I just don't know that it's my favorite type of game.
No, I really do like what the game accomplishes, especially in terms of the speed of play. At 2 players, I would say that we were playing the game after we learned it in about close to 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, which is really good for us. I do like the art that we have on the game. I think it really suits the idea of your dwarves digging in a mine. So really cool on that note. I love the dragons. You find dragon fossils. That's how you can score some points. The idea that will give you points and they score vertically really brings me back, as Julie mentioned, to Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And as much as I enjoy the game and I like the fact that it plays in an hour, scoring that game is a beast, and it's a lot more complicated and harder to teach. It's still very simple. I do like the dice mechanic in this because I do enjoy the randomness, but that being said, at 2 players, I think the randomness is just off the charts. I really think that you can see just the amount of cards that I have compared to what Julie has in front of her. It almost isn't, well, it just isn't fair. At this certain point, we got to the end of the game, there was just no way she was going to win. Now, some of these are awards, but I just got so far ahead of her on like items and things like that that she really couldn't keep up. Like this, the wall torches alone gave me an extra 10 points. Then you can try to block people in this game if you want. You probably will score some points, but it's not good strategy. It does feel to me, though, that if you are playing with 3 to 4 players, things like wells and the altars are all going to kind of get spread around based on everyone's different strategies. So you're not going to have someone that's going to be able to stack a ridiculous amount of points off one card. So there's definitely a little bit of game balance issues across the amount of players. I really do like the fact that it is for younger players. I think 7 and above is the right age. You're going to be rolling dice and making decisions. I don't think that kids younger than that are going to be able to make the right decisions without a lot of help from their parents, and that's something that you definitely want to avoid as much as possible because you might be playing the game for them at that point. The scoring system is rather simple. It works really well. I like the fact that you get multipliers off each of the different rows. So have a lot of veins at the bottom, you'll score a lot more points. And that's where, as Julie mentioned, some of the real strategies will start to come into play. However, they will be controlled largely by the die rolls. If you can somehow extend your mine shaft all the way down to the bottom and spread out and get a lot of veins, well, you're going to score a lot more points. And it's a completely valid strategy. But
it's easier said than done because I knew my mission was to get at least 3 tiles on the bottom, and it's not always that easy to get something down straight
when
down.
You're rolling 1s or 2s or 3s, and you combine that with a 1 and a 2 and a 3. So there's a lot of different aspects, and the randomness works well in mitigating the skill quotient, but it's not going to be for everyone. That being said, I do feel like this game was trying to create a faster, simpler version of something like Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and I do think that it succeeded in what it wanted to do. But it's definitely hovering between that, I'd say, family game and gamer game that might make it a little awkward for certain players. Now, if you're a gamer family and you also have a lot of friends that aren't gamers that do want to play with you, or things that your kids can take out and play with their friends because they like stuff like this, then I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this getting to the table, and I think it's going to be the right fit. I could see us having a lot of fun playing this with your parents because of the ease of play. They did enjoy Between Two Castles, but they found it a little bit more complicated than they would like. So this kind of fits well in that niche of what they would enjoy playing, especially with the playtime of 35 minutes.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of my cousin with her 3 sons that like to play games. They're the right age. They're all above, a little bit over 7. And above, obviously. This is like a type of game that I think you get a couple of, like you said, a couple kids together that are over the age of 7, and I think that enjoy playing games. I think they'd enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I think it's got a nice fit. It's got a great play time. I really like quicker games, but the randomness quotient is probably just a little bit on the higher side than we would typically like. But if you look at mass market family games, well, those have randomness up the wazoo. So it really falls in that interesting space. So if you're looking for a family game and this one suits you, I would suggest that you check it out. It's currently on Kickstarter. You can pledge right now. The link will be down below in the video description, so you can find that and check out the campaign page.
And now I'm going to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
And take a look down below in the video description. Besides that link, there will be also links to all of our social media feeds. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see some pictures of Julie and I playing Dinamine, there are plenty on those feeds. Also down there is a link to multizone.ca, a great Canadian game store. Click that link. You'll get 10% off your next purchase. And it's a great way to support the channel, as a portion of that purchase is returned to us. And now popping up in front of us are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be our most recent release. And since we talked about it, it only seems fair. In front of Julie, we will put a link back to Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. One of our videos, haven't decided which one yet. And on that note, we need to
grab our drink,
grab our best friend,
I'm going to keep playing games.
Keep playing games. I'm wondering when this one's going to come back to the table. I think it won't be too long.